Certainly. We did get the sun at sometimes, though.
Yeah. So at least for the start as well, for the under-13 girls race, we at least got a bit of sun, but maybe just sort of teasing you a bit, really, just sort of leaving you a bit unprepared for what's about to follow.
Well, they say you get all 4 seasons in one day. I think we get all 4 seasons in every half an hour up here now, the way the weather's been. So you'll see later on it's challenging, but we had a nice bright start to the event and a big field lining up for under 13 girls here.
But as I say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and girls from here, they'll be looking to finish on top, won't they? I mean, we've got a fair few that might do quite well. So we got people like Millie McClellan-Brooks, who was the highest finishing Scot at the Run Stirling event. Wasn't she? Finished second.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was 25th last year though, so it'd be a big step up if she was to go for it.
Yeah, she's made a big improvement this year. Obviously, we're finishing second at the Run Stirling, and obviously starts as one of the favourites in this particular race today. The run to the first corner shortened because of that big puddle and the use of the area in the front of the house, so that getting round the first corner was a challenge, and we see them coming down the hill here, and there's already 3 beginning to break away. So the Glasgow School of Sport is...
That's Millie McClellan-Brooks, who we mentioned already earlier today. She's clearly confident after a run at Run Stirling. She made a really good race there, and she's looking to get out on top straight away and assert herself, and she's doing quite well so far.
She certainly has. We're still early in the race, but she went right from the gun, didn't she, today? And as you can see, the course already starting to churn up, and that's just the first race, and people have walked the course. But look at the numbers streaming through there. It's magnificent to see so many young girls taking part, and that's a feature, I think, today. Particularly in the girls' side, the growth in the sport.
Yeah, we mentioned that with Susan Egglestaff, I think, in the she wrote an article about Scottish athletics, how they literally leading the way in women's participation in the sport. It's seen a massive increase, and there seems to be just more and more turning up. When participation in women's sport, particularly at a young age, is something that's talked about a lot, because you see a lot of them dropping out.
Yeah, it's certainly, particularly on the girls' side, but just across the board. But it would appear that the girls' side is particularly strong just now, and I don't know if that's what's inspiring the girls to come through. I know a lot of local areas, we've got primary school cross-country leagues. We have one in our area, and we get a lot of kids out of that, which is obviously the point of it. You can see the wind there, the cameraman struggling, but the
poor cameraman. The cameraman there did really well I really admire that cameraman.
Yeah, it's magnificent. And here we come down into one of the muddier areas of the course, so you can see they've put some bark down there over what would have been a puddle, and it's a bit narrow there, but you can see already it's just liquid concrete, isn't it? And this is the first race. And
it's a clear front two as well. It's Millie McClellan-Brooks and Olivia Warboys already. They've broken away from the pack. They were the top 2 Scottish people that run Stirling, and it looks like it's gonna continue that way, doesn't it?
Looks like it's going to be a repeat of that race. But lots of vests going through there. There's a Falkirk and Edinburgh vest going through, and then an Aberdeen one. Petrivi there, and Stornoway, so 2 Stornoway vests going through there. So it's great to see people coming from the far north in the country, and that's either been a ferry or a plane journey, and I wouldn't have fancied either of those journeys in the weather conditions the last few days. So they've done magnificent to get here.
But obviously, once getting here, they've got that's the real battle now, is actually fighting these elements.
It certainly makes you determined to get round, doesn't it? and you can see these young girls attacking the hill here as they move away from the puddle. So they're leaving the house area, and they're going up onto the Antonine Wall, which is the furthest bit the Roman Empire ever got in Britain. It's not the northeast of England, it's actually here in Scotland, and they're going to run along that national monument as part of the race.
Yeah, that's the big grand part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, we like that, and usually there's some decent running along there. It's some good ground, but I think you'll see later on, it's pretty muddy out there today. And there's a Falkirk athlete, the black and gold, and she's running with a shoe in her hand. So the shoes are coming off in the first race, and this is them coming along the wall. Now you'll see that stone on the right. That's actually a marker, and it gives you a bit of history of of the wall. And the camera's probably foreshortening the distances here, but you can see the Glasgow
definitely.
School of Sport athlete and then the Kilmarnock vest, and it is actually quite a distance they've got on the other athletes at this point, but still a lot in the shot.
Although she has increased that gap out, and they were, almost neck and neck, weren't they, McClellan Brooks and Warboys? But now it looks like McClellan Brook has really,
She's
kicked
attacked that hill, hasn't she? And she's developed a good lead there. And the Giffnock vest is chasing the Kilmarnock athlete there. And look at the wind. Look at those poles bending in the wind, and the tape's low down there as well to stop that getting caught. So it's very difficult conditions, and you can see the mud and the girls slipping already. And as I say, this is the first race of the day. The time the senior men come along, it's the 20th lap, so it's going to be muddy.
Yeah, that's Freya Campbell in third. It looks like she might have been out of the running, second. She was quite far behind, but she, has built up a gap on Olivia Warboys, who was struggling to keep up with Millie McClellan Brooks. But they're still in sight, and it's definitely not over yet, is it?
No. And I say again, look at the wind there. But the Giffnock athlete, she had a wee look over her shoulder as they came round that bend. So I don't know. That gives her the confidence that there's nothing coming from behind. I don't think they're not far from the finish here. One last dig up the steep hill back onto the wall, and this bit's always muddy. And look at this. The sand was washed away this morning. We had to go and get more sand for the pavement crossing there, and the good runners at the front just glide up it, and you'll see people struggling later on. The camera angle doesn't do it justice. It's quite a steep climb out there, but it's getting very interesting now. Third, fourth, fifth, good packing, and Inverness vest going through there. And is this a purple? Like it could be Team East Lothian, but there's some gaps there. And look at the athletes sliding there. And here we come into the finish, and as you can see, clear lead again for the Glasgow School of Sport athlete.
Yeah, it was that hill, wasn't it, that did make the big difference, didn't it, for McClellan Brooks? She attacked it and she made a gap, and there was just no catching her, was there, from then on?
No, a classy run and well deserved victory. And
Still
sprint finish for second and the third tier.
But it is Olivia Warboys who got it, who did well to keep up with Millie McClellan Brooks, throughout most of the first lap and everything. She was still in the running, but yeah, I think it was the hill that was that difference, wasn't it? And then after that she was still trying to fight for second place, but she won that battle. Good effort from Freya Campbell, but great race to kick it off.